Welcome to today's webinar, Connecting the Economic Giants, the USA and Nigeria, powered by the Africa Business Portal. My name is Quinton Scholes, Vice President of Marketing and Partner to the Africa Business Portal, and I'll be your moderator for today. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin. The webinar will be available in an on-demand basis within 48 to 72 hours. We'll be creating a landing page with the webinar information and additional information that you'll be interested in. And most Q&As will be done in the form of writing, and you can submit your questions, comments, or suggestions from the platform or email to ian@africabsp.com. At this time, I'd like to thank a powerful group of speakers who will be joining us today, namely Brent Umdahl, Commercial Counselor, USA, Commercial Service, Nigeria, and Joyce Apata, Director General, the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Mudu Yusuf, Director General, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Mr. Martin Azima, Director of International Business Development, Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. Our first speaker for today's webinar is Brent Umdahl. He's the Commercial Counselor for the U.S. Department of Commerce, Nigeria. He's an international business development executive with deep experience in Southeast Asia and African markets. He is the primary advisor to U.S. firms entering the Nigerian market. Brent was Chief Operations Officer for high-volume customer service delivery organizations with extensive project management success. Brent will be discussing U.S. resources for enhancing business engagement in Nigeria. And now we'll turn the time over to you, Brent.
Thank you for that introduction. It's a pleasure for me to be with you today to talk about one of my favorite topics, the Nigerian market, and the services that we can offer through the U.S. Commercial Service and the U.S. government at large to help you as an American business have real success in this dynamic market. Nigeria is the market in Africa that you need to be in if you're not already here. Nigeria, as the largest country on the continent, represents a market of about 190 million people, approaching 200 million, with ground floor opportunities across some key sectors, including agriculture, infrastructure, by which we mean oil and gas, electric power, roads, and marine transport. Also, information and communications technologies, and other markets, other sectors. Nigeria is important because it's a gateway to other West African markets. A number of our AmCham companies, or American Business Council companies, use Nigeria as a platform to access other West African markets as well. Finally, I would say that affinity for the U.S., for doing business with U.S. companies, is off the charts. Nigerian companies view American companies as the international standards by way of quality, by way of technology, and are always looking for ways to partner with the best that America has to offer. As the Commercial Service, which is part of the International Trade Administration of the Department of Commerce, we are the lead agency to help American companies have success in the Nigerian market and in markets around the world. The U.S. Commercial Service is a global organization with 100 offices within the United States and about 80 offices in markets around the world. Here in Africa, we have offices in South Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Angola, Ghana, and of course, the largest market, Nigeria. The portfolio of services that we offer are available to American companies, both small and medium-sized, and also large companies, and range from providing you with counseling, which is a free service, basic market intelligence, based on what your particular sector interest is, all the way through to specialized services through which we help you find a vetted business partner, we help you launch a product, we help you in the bidding process to win a government tenders as well. And so as a global organization, we can help you in most markets around the world. We don't do the work that we do in providing help to you as American companies in a vacuum. I mentioned that we were the lead trade promotion agency, but we have a number of other government agencies that work with us. One of the primary ones is the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, which works primarily in emerging markets. We have the West African representative embedded with us here in our office. U.S. Trade and Development Agency, I like to say, sits between USAID and the Commercial Service. That is to say, they have two objectives. The first objective is to open up real opportunities in infrastructure development for American companies in emerging markets. Their second objective is to assist in the development of infrastructure in their target markets. They offer a number of products and services, but essentially they're a grant-making organization that provides project development and project preparation capabilities. Their bread and butter would be feasibility studies to help projects become bankable. Here in Nigeria, they've been active in the power sector, in the oil and gas sector, in the ICT sector. They did feasibility work that helped bring online one of the largest power plants in Nigeria in Edo State, the Azura power plant. And through that process, we're able to highlight a number of American equipment providers that were eventually chosen to provide everything ranging from turbines to some of the automation systems that run the power plant, the Azura power plant. USTDA also gets involved in running reverse trade missions that have been very effective. Late last year, they ran an ICT trade mission to look at broadband development. Nigeria was in the process of putting out tenders for broadband expansion in the 6 geographic areas of the country. And so we invited all of the developers who had won those bids to accompany us and USTDA back to look at how we run broadband in the US and to look at the technology providers who are now engaged in several of these different 6 geographical areas to provide everything from the cable that's being laid to the automation systems that are helping to run the broadband systems. So USTDA is a great partner, and if you're engaged in any of those markets, we can help you access some of the products and services that they have on offer. In addition to USTDA, the Overseas Private Investment Corporation is also very active here in Nigeria. OPIC is known as the government's development bank, and they help American businesses invest in emerging markets around the world. They currently have about 29 billion, I think, under management. 6.1 billion of that is in Africa, a large portion of which is in Nigeria. OPIC basically does a couple of things. One, they provide insurance to American investors in infrastructure projects, and which have helped really seal the deal here in Nigeria for a couple of investors. They also provide loans on infrastructure projects. The loans typically have longer tenors than are available in the private market and favorable interest rates than we see in West Africa and particularly in Nigeria. The good news and the even better news about OPIC is that you may have read at the end of last year, our Congress passed the BUILD Act, which will transform OPIC, double its size, and transform it into the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Through this transformation, they will also bring in some additional services through a merger with USAID's DCA, or Development Credit Authority. It will enable them to provide a bigger portfolio of loan guarantees on these infrastructure projects, and will also allow them now to take equity positions. And again, through their financial products that I just mentioned, as well as through political risk insurance, whereby they will insure the nationalization of a project that you may be interested in or investing in, and also through investment funds that they fund here locally, you're able to access and really turbocharge any project that you may be working on. In addition to the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, the Export-Import Bank of the United States has been very active in Nigeria over a long period of time. The good news is that just last month, XM Bank appointed a full board, which means that they can now provide loans above the $10 million threshold that they were restricted to previously. XM Bank has done, just to put it in simple terms, has buyer-side financing, through which the loan programs initiate here in Nigeria. All of the major Nigerian banks have master guarantor agreements with XM Bank, and so can offer XM loan guarantees. And then on the buyer side, or on the seller side, they offer a portfolio of products that allow you to minimize your risk when it comes to receivables. It allows you to access financing for operations if you're having cash flow problems, to service international clients. There are XM representatives located throughout the United States in the commercial service regional offices, 6 regional offices. And so we can help you engage with those organizations through our domestic offices as well. Finally, I would just mention the program that we have throughout Africa in the markets where we don't have a presence. I mentioned early in our presentation that we have an office in the 8 major markets in sub-Saharan Africa. I'll also mention that we have markets in North Africa as well, in the major markets there. But if you're interested in some of the other West African markets, other than Ghana or Nigeria, including Cameroon or Cote d'Ivoire or Senegal, which are all up-and-coming markets, we can assist you in those markets as well. We've developed with the State Department a partnership program whereby we have trained the embassy staff, State Department staff, to deliver the branded services that I talked about earlier, and help you access and find support in those markets. We coordinate closely with them on the individual engagements, and so we're involved there as well. Let me just wrap up by saying that I'm very bullish on the Nigerian market. It is a market where there are ground floor opportunities. It's not always the easiest market to do business in. Critical to your success here will be finding the right business partner. We've developed an interesting program here in Nigeria called Networking with the USA, or NUSA, whereby we go out and vet potential partners long before we ever put them in front of an American company. Over the past 18 to 20 years, we've vetted about 4,000 Nigerian companies, so we have a very deep database of companies with credibility, companies that we trust, companies that you can do business with here in Nigeria and be profitable. So with that, let me just turn it over back to you and open it up for questions.
Brent, that was a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. I have 2 questions for you. Firstly, how do the US companies access the NUSA list? And how do Nigerian companies qualify themselves to become a member of the NUSA list?
Thanks for that question. Great question. The best way as an American company for us to engage with you is for you to register at our local office. I mentioned that we have 100 offices throughout the United States in every major city. Some of you may actually already be clients. But if you go to www.export.gov, on our landing page, you can enter your zip code, and it will tell you who or contact information for your local office. The best thing to do is to then email or call the local office, register with them. They'll start to have some strategic discussions with you. Our offices locally, part of their responsibility or their mandate is to help you, introduce you to us around the world, but they also help you with local exporting issues as well. Issues ranging from accessing financing, as we talked about before, to documentation, to helping you with logistics as well. And then they, as part of the continuum of our services, introduce you to us in Nigeria and to our counterparts around the world so you can access services there. If you're unable to find your local partner, please email me directly at brent.omdahl@trade.gov. And I think my information is shared on this PowerPoint presentation as well. Now, if you're a Nigerian company and happening to be listening in, let me just say you are welcome. You are welcome to do business with American companies as well. And our office here in Nigeria can be a great conduit for you to partner with U.S. companies. Please just email me at that same email, brent.omdahl@trade.gov. Or you can also access our local website, which is www.buyusa.gov/Nigeria. That's buyusa.gov/Nigeria. I have a team on the ground here of 10 of us. Our commercial specialists cover specific markets. They can run you through the process of how to participate in our shows, our trade missions back to the United States, and how, and we'll work with you if you're looking to purchase something specific or to partner with a specific U.S. company. We can guide you on the best way to do that. So please do reach out to us at brent.omdahl@trade.gov or www.buyusa.gov/Nigeria.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much again for your response. Our next speaker is Joyce Akpata. She's the Director General at the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. Joyce is a dynamic corporate lawyer and administrator who has distinguished herself in a number of challenging jobs from publishing, training, and management. She has successfully managed business turnaround for membership organizations. The Nigerian Chamber of Commerce has locations in 10 Nigerian cities and over 800 members. Joyce will be discussing the role of bilateral chambers in reducing trade and investment challenges in Nigeria. Let's turn the time over to you, Joyce.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'll be speaking on the role of bilateral chambers in reducing trade and investment challenges in Nigeria, and sharing the experience of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. Basically, we'd look at these key heads. So what's a bilateral chamber? Bilateral chamber is an organization made up of various businesses and is non-profit, and basically focuses on promoting trade and collaborations between two countries. So in our case, that's between Nigeria and the US, and we aim to see how best we can boost the prosperity of member businesses, both in Nigeria and the US. The NACCE is the first and oldest bilateral chamber of commerce in Nigeria, and it's as old as Nigeria itself. So being in the vanguard of promoting trade and investment between Nigeria and US for close to 60 years. In doing so, we have a membership across Nigeria and the US, and cumulatively we have a little over 1,000 members, and we are still growing. And the activities we carry out in achieving our objectives of promoting trade between both countries would include business linkages, business support services, training, seminars, and conferences to build capacity of member companies, and a lot of advocacy and trade and investment missions to and from Nigeria and the US. So in making our own impact and pushing the trade relationship between both countries, we would normally carry out some advocacy and lobbying to ensure that there are legislations and policies in place that would promote and encourage businesses, thereby creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. That's a key thing in ensuring that new businesses come in and the existing businesses are sustainable. So we try in our own way to see how best we can achieve that. And we normally would counsel, by engaging with the relevant government agencies, both between Nigeria and the US, to see how best we can promote this trade. In doing so, the Chamber is part of the US Nigeria Binational Commission, and also working with the Commercial and Investment Dialogue, which seeks to see how best both the private and public sectors of both countries would work together to promote policies that will boost trade between both nations. We also typically would serve as a conduit for trade between both countries, and we see ourselves as a bridge, that connects the opportunities that exist in Nigeria with opportunities that exist in the US. In doing so, we normally would seek out some of these opportunities and see how we can share that with the relevant member companies, and in especially trying to get new businesses to come in. We would offer market entry support services, which would include research, carrying out some market research, due diligence on companies, and seeing how best we can surely achieve their objectives, whatever those objectives would be. So typically would conduct due diligence before we introduce companies to foreign-based businesses looking for partnerships, to confirm that they are legit businesses, that they are operational, and indeed that they have the capacity and are able to meet their own part of whatever bargain or agreement that would emerge from any partnership, that would arise. If you have a business that's thriving, be it products or services, if you don't put those businesses out there, then you don't get the necessary exposure and indeed customers. So in trying to promote that, we organize and participate in a number of fairs and exhibitions, which are focused on creating market access for buyers and for these companies. So we do that both locally and in Nigeria and in the US. So we normally would have Nigerian companies looking for off-takers or buyers for their products in the US participate in some of these exhibitions based in the US, so they are able to engage with the US audience, and would also, for the local ones, have them engage with Nigerian-based audience. That way they are able to put a business out there and able to promote their businesses as best as they can. We seek out also investment opportunities both in Nigeria and the US, and we circulate that within our database, because really, if no one is aware of those opportunities, we can take advantage of them. So when we have those information at our fingertips, we circulate them within our members, so they're able to look at those opportunities that are within their area and within their capacity to take advantage of those opportunities. Normally would get requests both ways, both from Nigerian businesses looking for opportunities in the US, or US businesses looking for opportunities in Nigeria, and work at seeing how best we can bring them together. We've also in the past now been promoting companies on Nigerian business to take advantage of the opportunity presented by AGOA, which is a U.S. trade preference legislation that seeks to support sub-Saharan African companies. And we've had recent success in the sense that since the establishment of AGOA, Nigeria has not had a country utilization strategy, which the Act requires. And we've been able in the past year work with the relevant government departments and agencies, some other private sector stakeholders to put together a national utilization strategy, which thankfully the government has approved in the past 2 weeks. So that now presents a great opportunity for Nigerian businesses to launch and actively take advantage of the, I think, about 6 years left before the expiration of AGOA, and indeed for much more planning towards how best these Nigerian businesses are able to ensure that whatever products or services they offer is according to global standards. So we work with both US businesses, we work with Nigerians in diaspora, and our focus basically is just see how best we can ensure that businesses in both countries are prosperous. So people can always reach out to us, and we'll see how best we can position ourselves to support all these businesses and promote business between Nigeria and the United States.
Joyce, that was a wonderful presentation full of insights and learnings. I have one question. If I'm a Nigerian diaspora in a city other than Houston, is it possible to create additional US chapters?
Yeah, I mean, they're able to contact us and we can engage and see how best we can achieve that.
That really was good insight indeed. Thank you so much for your answer. Our third speaker of today's webinar is Muda Yusuf. Muda is the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the LCCI, and he has participated in various high-level public policy advocacy dialogues at both the federal and state levels with the aim of fostering private sector participation in the Nigerian economic development. He's an economist and a leading advocate of enabling environment for the Nigerian private sector, and has a vast knowledge and exposure on business research and economic policy issues affecting business. Muda will discuss the role of Nigerian chambers of commerce in enhancing US-Nigeria trade and investment. Muda, the table is yours.
Yes, the LCCI, that's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, was founded in 1888 and is the oldest chamber of commerce and industry in the West African sub-region, and next only to the Johannesburg Chamber on the African continent. It has a membership of over 2,000 corporate bodies, cutting across practically all sectors of the Nigerian economy, ranging from the manufacturing to service sector to pharmaceutical to distributive trade to the maritime to professionals and so on and so forth. It also has in its membership different levels of business. We have small businesses, we have medium enterprises, and we have the large enterprises. We have the international oil companies and the multinational companies as members. The majority of our members are actually in the SME category, reflecting the structure of enterprises in the Nigerian economy. And our major core mandate of the chamber is to ensure effective policy advocacy, to undertake trade missions inward and outward, we play a very big role. The chamber plays a big role in exhibition, trade promotion and exhibition, business development services, networking activities, and so on and so forth. So these are the core things that we do in the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The chamber has in its membership many multinational organizations. We have the Nestle, we have Unilever, And in terms of the indigenous conglomerates, Dangote group of companies is a member of the chamber. We have the BUA group. Many of the international oil companies are also members of the LCCI. You have the Shell Petroleum Corporation, Mobil, Ajib, ELF, and many other international oil companies are all members of the LCCI. The benefits that the services offer to investors in the United States are basically with respect to business information and the development of partnership between United States investors and Nigerian investors. The chamber also offers trade promotion opportunities and platforms for United States investors. The chamber offers business information regarding investment opportunities in Nigeria for United States investors, and also facilitates consular access to Nigerian embassies in United States. So basically, these are the things that the chamber offers in terms of support for United States investors. The chamber provides due diligence services. Depending on the extent of the due diligence, that may come at a fee, but it's something that the chamber provides. And the chamber also has meeting rooms, facilities for meeting rooms, facilities for workshops, and all of that, which can be put at the disposal of foreign investors from the United States at a very heavy discount. The chamber has an arbitration center, which has very reputable arbitrators drawn from various sectors of the economy. The chairperson of the arbitration center is a senior advocate of Nigeria, which is one of the highest level of legal practice that you can have in Nigeria. The chamber has facilities for the arbitration hearings, and the chamber also gives opportunity to parties involved in any disputes to choose their own arbitrator. So there is option of choosing arbitrators. The chamber could also provide arbitrators if the parties in disputes so desire. And the arbitration center has been able to adjudicate, provide platform for arbitration for many companies, both local and international. Partnership with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we bring remarkable or considerable credibility and confidence to the kind of partners that U.S. investors can have in Nigeria. The chamber offers the opportunity to give confidence to U.S. investors. The chamber is aware that Nigeria has some measure of perception problems concerning the quality of investors and some of the risk that are involved in investing in Nigeria. The chamber is in a position to support U.S. investors to manage such risks and to ensure that credible information is provided to U.S. investors across all sectors of the Nigerian economy.
Thank you, Muda. That was a very informative presentation. I have one question. In general, how can the local Nigerian chambers and associations be supportive to the U.S. business in Nigeria?
The area of support that the chambers can provide for U.S. businesses, first, is in issues of due diligence, offering a platform to foster partnership with U.S. companies, providing information about policy, especially trade policy, providing information on local regulatory environment, and doing a due diligence for potential U.S. Business partners in Nigeria.
Thank you so much for your response, Muda. We look forward to the Q&A session later. Our last speaker for today's webinar is Martin Izima. Martin is currently the Director of International Business Development at the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. He's responsible in promoting international business in goods and services to help Prince George's County's companies create jobs, lease commercial space, and increase the commercial tax base. Martin used to be an African expert for the U.S. Department of Commercial Minority Business Development Agency, the MBDA, and as a BD specialist where he focused on assisting MBEs in increasing exports to emerging markets. Today, Martin will be discussing the role of economic development agencies in the U.S., Nigeria, trade and investments. So without further ado, we turn the time over to you now, Martin.
Thank you very much, Quentin, for that generous introduction. We are going to start today with sharing with you the role of economic development agencies in the United States, Africa, Nigeria, and trade and investment. We will dive into reach of economic development agencies. The agencies that is responsible for what we call EDOs, Economic Development Organizations, is Economic Development Administration. They have been very supportive in supporting national development agencies, state development agencies in every state in the U.S., regional economic development agencies, and so on. So they have really been the go-to agency for like us in Prince George's County. What we have done at Prince George's County is we've established an economic development incentive fund, but there is a statutory purpose for it. As you can see, among the chief responsibilities of the EDI fund is really to spur economic growth by way of job creation and expansion of the tax credit. Of course, on the international side, as you can see, on international resources and trade, would like to share with you the U.S. Economic Development Agencies, what it is that they should understand about Africa. We believe, and many of you have heard, that Africa is the next frontier, and there is strong data to back this up. Now, these agencies already have international priorities. Like for us, we have consultants in Israel, China, India, including what is mentioned here, Canada, Europe, Mexico, of course, being our neighbor. So EDOs understand fully well that not relying solely on the federal government, on the U.S. diplomats, and commercial service, and being able to invest in their own consultants, establishing boots on the ground, is something that EDOs should pay very close attention to. You are seeing a beautiful picture of National Harbor. It's our crown jewel development. 10 years ago, there was nothing. on this piece of real estate that you're looking at. But today, it's become a major attraction to not just Prince George's County, but throughout the region, DC and Virginia. Strategic plan identified by priority industry sectors. Because of our proximity to the federal government, we enjoy about $100 billion in government spends. So it is a major strength, and that's the reason why Prince George's County is among the most affluent counties in the United States. Overview of economic development tools. Like I've mentioned, you have loans and grants. You also have discretionary tax credits. Of course, our workforce is very strong, one of the best. It's actually modeled. So this is a major strength that we bring to our economic development strategy. And of course, we have geographic-based tax credits. And of course, credit enhancement and creative access to capital programs that we have. So the county tax credit and incentives are a major area of economic development on the state of Maryland. There are many incentives that we believe are also complementary to our success. One of which, the most exciting, is TETCO, Maryland Venture Fund. Private equity, they put money into a lot of innovative ideas. And as a result of these incentives, what we're able to do is, of course, attract capital investment. We invested about $50 million 4 or 5 years ago, and today we're doing almost $1.2 billion on capital investment. This has allowed us to create close to 8,000 jobs and retained over 5,000 new jobs. So these incentives are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, some even exceeding expectations. How can Africa contribute to the results? Looking at the slide, well, to bring successful projects and also success with U.S. commercial service. My friends, Brent, Ambrose, and Ngozi, and all these guys that work at the U.S. commercial service in Lagos is one such example. We have brought in trade missions, businesses that have been able to visit Nigeria even the first time, leave Nigeria with lucrative contracts. So we are very confident that our collaboration with the U.S. government is a major and something that we know can be truly beneficial. That is it. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin, for that fantastic presentation. One question for you quickly before we get into the Q&As. What do you think the potential of U.S. economic development agencies are in engaging in Africa?
Well, there are many impacts. One of the chief impacts is Africa's ability to create jobs, retain jobs, and of course expand the tax base. We are confident that this is something, a strategy that has been tested many times over. Africa cannot afford to look away from relationship with EDOs.
Thank you so much for that, Martin. So now we're going to tackle some questions submitted. And due to time constraints or limitations, we'll answer some questions in writing and will be available on our on-demand page, which you receive in the next 48 to 72 hours after the webinar. So the first question is going to be directed towards Brent. And this question comes from Emmanuel. So how can American companies benefit from the Africa continental free trade?
Hi, Ian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great. Now, it's a great question. And it's a question that we've received quite a bit recently. So the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is meant to really create a common market throughout Africa, particularly those countries that are participating in it, and is meant over time to really accelerate and improve the movement of goods and services across borders. And so the biggest and most obvious impact will be to the African countries that participate, making it kind of a single customs zone to move goods and services throughout West Africa, from Ghana to Nigeria down to South Africa, etc. Now, American companies could benefit in a number of ways, right? You would have a single market, much like you would export to the United States or export to Europe today. It would be a single market. And so over time, there'd be rationalization of all of the customs rules, regulations, and duties that would take place. And so it would make trading much more efficient. It would also, for not just American manufacturers on the continent, but really all manufacturers, would really make things much easier. You know, supply chains nowadays obviously are global, and they're also continental. So if you have distributed manufacturing with inputs to production being created in different places, you could then move you know, those raw materials or other inputs to manufacturing sites with a lot more ease, cost and reduction, and with a lot less paperwork. So not just American companies, but companies at large will benefit from the free trade agreement. Most specifically, it's the African countries that will benefit the greatest.
And maybe just to add further to that, there's been a huge amount of change in the US in the last 6 to 12 months with the BUILD Act and the Prosper Africa Act. Would you say this is the right time for trade and investment between the USA and Africa?
Definitely is now. Now is the right time for increased trade between the US and Africa at large. I mean, we see a number of countries that are throughout sub-Saharan Africa that are getting more strategic about doing deals. This past year, the Department of Commerce, our Secretary Wilbur Ross, has signed a memorandum of understanding with 4 African countries, including Ethiopia, Ghana, Mozambique. Through those MOUs, we're deepening US engagement. We're asking the countries to put forward opportunities that American companies could invest in, primarily in infrastructure, and then working very closely with the governments to pull together financing that will work both for the investors and those participating in those projects. We're doing something very similar in Nigeria through the US-Nigeria Commercial and Investment Dialogue, where we're trying really to tee up opportunities for US firms in investing in those markets. There's never been a better time to export to Africa as well. You know, we have growth rates in many of the markets above between 5 and 10%. Nigeria itself is just coming out of a dip, but the growth rates will be towards 3% this year. And so that means there's money to spend, and particularly to spend in helping to build businesses and helping to build infrastructure that'll move the economies forward.
Brent, I'm going to leave it at that. Joyce, the next question is for you. And I think firstly, what is your position on PPPs and the importance thereof for the country and for partnerships? Joyce, I'm not sure if you heard the question, but what is your position on PPPs and the importance thereof for the country and for trade and investment?
Yeah, thanks. I think in today's world, there's a limit to what government can do. And I think there are certain initiatives that should not actually even be championed by government. So that gives very good opportunity for public-private partnerships, and it's going to be much more easier for certain projects, especially in terms of infrastructure, to engage in these public-private partnerships. Because, I mean, indeed, funding some of these projects might not be what government at this level or at this point in time will be able to accommodate, but if those opportunities are made available, you could always get private sector investors, to take care of some of those projects. And in recent past, we've seen quite an increased level of participation of private sector in some of these spaces. So it's something that I think companies who have the capacity to provide some of these services by way of PPP arrangements could look into.
Thank you. And then one of the questions from the attendees is, what qualifications have you put in place to assess the various opportunities that you put forward?
Well, normally for every company that would come in as a member, we do conduct due diligence on those businesses. So that gives us some foundational knowledge about these companies and what they do, and in terms of their capacity as well. And when we have requests which fall into the ambit of non-member companies, before we make any introductions or engage any of such non-member companies, would also undertake some level of due diligence to ascertain their capacity, and genuineness of whatever businesses they are currently running. That before we make any introductions or recommendations, we're sure that it's a legit business, and it's a business that can deliver on whatever mandate it's given to it at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Joy. That sounds fantastic. The next question is going to be directed towards Muda from the LCCI, and this question comes from Afiz, and that's, how can the Chamber help with connecting prospective buyers, and what is the process?
Well, first of all, the business has to be a member of the Chamber. And just as Joyce said, the principle is the same. We do some due diligence on the company to ascertain the level of its credibility as far as we can. And having done that, of course, it's a function of the opportunities that exist, because it's a matchmaking thing. If you have requests from outside the country, from US, for instance, and his interest matches the request, of course, we do the introduction and indicate that this company is known to us, and we feel that the company has the capacity to do the deal. So basically, it's a function of opportunities. It's a function of our assessment of the capacity of the company to do whatever deal that is available.
Thank you, Muda. And just maybe further to that, you're obviously from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and Lagos being one of my favorite cities in the whole of Africa. But there are many other countries and continents that have taken a stronghold in Africa. How do you see the importance of the relations with the USA?
Well, it is important. It's important to us because there are some things that the US has that we cannot find in some of these other countries. And given the stature of US, and given the fact that the US is the largest economy globally, And there are quite a lot of opportunities that we believe exist in the United States, which many other countries don't have. And these opportunities are both ways, in terms of import and also in terms of exports. So we feel that the US is unique in its own way as far as investment and business opportunities are concerned. Of course, the entrepreneurs know better. They know what opportunities exist. And once they bring that on board, as a Chamber of Commerce, we facilitate the realization of those opportunities.
Thank you, Muda. The next question will be directed towards Martin. And slightly off the topic of today, but what is, in your mind, the importance of the diaspora for Africa as a continent?
Thank you, Brent. Quentin. Well, of course, the impact of diaspora cannot be underscored. The continent over the last 3, 4, 5 decades have suffered major brain drain. So I think that the strength that the diaspora has here in the US and other parts of the world can definitely create a lot of efficiencies, do a lot of knowledge transfer to the growth of African countries. So that is the area that we believe that both the US side, both on the federal, state, and local level, we've recognized that very well. And we're going to make sure that we continue to enforce that engagement. So the importance is critical.
Thank you, Martin. And then this is a question from one of our participants, Mr. Obine, and he would like to find out whether investing in or partnership with Nigerian agriculture sector is something of interest to the US.
Absolutely. Agriculture is a major sector and the area of interest. Of course, we know that, there's a lot of knowledge transfer that is taking place, particularly here in Prince George's County. We have a relationship with UDC, University of District of Columbia. They run a major agriculture farm here for aquaponics and so on and so forth. So we believe that it's going to be bilateral. Hopefully, Africa will be able to, create better yields, create better products, and export to the US using vehicles such as AGOA and other initiatives such as Prosper Africa that is coming to play here very soon. So there's no question that this is an area, agriculture is an area that is going to be hopefully a successful area for businesses to focus on.
Thank you, Martin. So just to wrap up, I'm going to ask for a final word, if you can keep it brief, from each one of the participants, starting with Brent, then Joyce, then Muda, and finally Martin. Just your final thoughts on business between USA and Nigeria, and if you could wrap it up after that. Starting with you, Brent.
So absolutely. So my main message is that now is the time to be doing business in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, which is the largest and most essential market on the continent. We can assist you in that endeavor. If you're an American company, please reach out to us. We have a number of products and services that we can provide to help you understand the market and help you be successful. If you're a Nigerian company and you want to partner with US firms in doing business, or you want to find a good supplier or partner, please reach out to us as well, and we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you. And Joyce, you're up next.
Right. So, it's been an amazing session, and I would just, like Brent says, encourage companies who are looking for opportunities both ways to feel free to always reach out to us. And in whatever way we're able to support those businesses, we're very much open to doing so. And for the Nigerian diaspora, like you had mentioned, who would be interested in engaging with the chamber, or the possibility of having a chapter or branch in other cities aside Houston, if they reach out to us, we're also able to see how best we can structure coming up with something that is workable.
Thank you, Joyce. Moda?
Much. It has been a very good experience, and I'd like to assure all participants on this platform that the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry is ready to support any interested investor who wants to do business in Nigeria. And we also want to assure them that the risk of investing in Nigeria is not as bad as some people think. The reality of doing business in Nigeria is much better than what the perception is. Quite a number of foreign investors are doing very well in Nigeria. Of course, we have our own share of risk of doing business, but we are here to partner with investors to ensure that these risks are properly managed. So it's good to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, and a big support of Martin.
Yes, Nigeria being the #1 economy, obviously is very difficult to avoid. Of course, we understand clearly that other African countries are equally as important. So what my recommendation, based on the experience that we have here on the ground, is to make sure that both sides, both the Nigeria side, the US side, the EDOs, Economic Development Organizations, manage perception challenges. In the advent of technology, there is no reason for anybody to be ill-informed about what is going on. And the diaspora serves as a good conduit. So let's take a full advantage of it. You guys have done a very good job, Africa Business Portal. And we're looking forward to making sure that this is just the beginning and that this information will spread out throughout the continent as well as throughout here in the US. Thank you.
So we're very grateful to have had one of the highest registrations on record thus far for a webinar, thus showing the importance of this particular subject. A special thank you to the US Commercial Services Nigeria, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, and the Princess George County Economic Development Corporation. ABP members and our Nigerian country team head, Professor Ola Falamuni, and Martin Azimo, who assisted us with this event. We're especially grateful to all of you who have participated and share the event with your circle of influence and make this a further success. The next webinar will be communicated with you directly by email, and I think our time is up. Thank you, everybody for participating.